Any advice on how much an LLC business should spend on advertising? 15% of profit?
It shouldn't be like that. Here's the whole game of business. You have lifetime value, whatever that is. Then you have cost of acquisition, meaning how much does it cost you to acquire a customer minus how much that customer is worth equals profit. So for example, let's say lifetime value of a customer is $1,000, right? Boom. I'm using low numbers just for easy math. But you got to find out this number. What's the cost of acquisition? Like if you ever watch Shark Tank, one of the first things is how much does it cost you to acquire a customer? That's like one of the first things they ask. Why? Because this is the whole game. You got to find out how much it costs you to acquire a customer. If you don't know that, then you got to spend some money to figure it out. But you need to know this number. And anything under $1,000 is your gross profit, because depending on what your product is, you're gonna have cost of goods. It's also depends on how much cash you have, because a business that doesn't have a lot of free capital, you can't really go off lifetime value. You might need to make this money back immediately. In which case, let's say you got a monthly program, $50 a month, monthly recurring revenue per customer, your MRR is $50. If you're running on fucking low cash, then you got to get your cost of acquisition to be under $50 for ads to make sense for you. Otherwise, you're breaking even. But even if you do this, if it's monthly MR, then you pay just $50 to acquire the customer. But bam, everything after that is profit, depending on what the lifetime value is. That's why you need to know this number too. If my MRR is $50 and it costs me $50 to get a customer, I'll do that shit all day with as much money as I can. I'd borrow money. In fact, I do. I use credit cards for my ads. I'm not using my own money. Everything from month 2 on is profit. So you got to find out your numbers, bro. Like you kind of just threw out some random numbers to me, but now your next step for some real business shit, you got to learn your numbers, bro. And if you know your numbers, we have a recurring product, then you got to find out what your MRR is per customer. And then anything below that, it depends on how much cash you got to operate. Man, so this is something I learned from my mentor, Matt Kalon. So this kind of blew my mind when he first told me this, and he told me this like 10 years ago. And he was like, yo, let's say your lifetime value, I'm gonna use a higher number so it makes more sense, is 10 grand. Somebody stays with you and over the course of, it might be years, that customer's gonna be worth 10 grand. Shit, man. It depends on when you need to make this money back, how soon you need to make this money back. Because the longer you can stretch out the time you need to make back your cost of acquisition, the bigger you can grow your company. If you need to make your money back every month, your growth is limited by how much cash you have. But if you got enough cash where you don't need to make your money back for like a year, then you can go fucking super hard. It don't even matter. And that's what a lot of these big ass companies do. Facebook didn't even make no profit for the first bunch of years. If you can really stretch this out, let's say your cost of acquisition is fucking 2 grand. That's super high cost of acquisition. But if you know over the lifetime of that customer, you're gonna make a profit of 8 grand. It just depends on how fast you need to make this profit. Really how fast you need to make this back to stay in business. I say all that to say you need to learn your numbers. And once you have that, man, you'll be able to build a bigger business. See, man, motherfuckers don't know how smart I am. They don't know because I talk like a slave and I fucking tell all you guys these jokes all the time.